Awareness Month in some countries. As an entrepreneurship digital platform with a global reach, we saw it suitable to also discuss issues of mental health. Discussing mental health is crucial because it helps to break the stigma. It promotes understanding and encourages people to seek help. By opening about these conversations, we can create supportive communities and build a more compassionate society. We can further foster environments where mental health is prioritized just as much as physical health. Anoushka is a qualified clinician, motivational speaker, and soon-to-be author. She reaches audiences around the world. She has a YouTube channel called Anoushka Psychology, among many other social media platforms. Anoushka's purpose is to help empower, inspire, and motivate others to unlock their fullest potential and live their best lives. Anoushka has been featured on BBC Radio 4, Talk Radio Europe, Self-Discovery Radio, MedCircle, and many others. MedCircle is a platform which carries out mental health interviews with world-class psychiatrists and psychologists. And today, we have the honor and the pleasure of hosting Anoushka. This is my entrepreneurship journey. I'm Difua Machele, and welcome. Anoushka, welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to have you join us today. You know, your expertise as a psychologist and a motivational speaker brings a unique perspective to our conversation here today on entrepreneurship and mental health. So thank you very much for taking the time to share your wisdom with us. And I'm so excited to dive into discussion, to introduce and learn a lot from you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me. Honestly, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. So I'm really excited for what questions you're going to ask. And of course, yes, I would love to help inspire others. So thank you so much for inviting me.
You know, I didn't quite understand or understand practically what is the meaning of burnout, you know, until it happened to me not so long ago. So I always had the word, this burnout, don't catch burnout, but I didn't really grasp, you know, practically what that means. So what are the signs we'd like to hear from you of stress and burnout that one should be looking out for?
This is a really interesting topic. And I'm glad that you've brought it up because you know what? It's almost like it's a silent killer. Not that it will kill you, but excessive amounts or sustained amounts over a longer period of time. You know what? You can have real bad, you know, health benefits from it. So burnout happens over a space of time, and it happens silently if we're not aware that you know, of what's going on. And symptoms can range from anything from like feeling tired, feeling nauseous, perhaps feeling overwhelmed. And what happens is you don't get enough sleep. You perhaps maybe are worried and stressed all the time. And I understand as entrepreneurs, we are in a way kind of we're perfectionists. We want everything to be perfect. We want things to flow in a certain way. And of course, why not? But what we have to understand is that life isn't perfect. Things don't always flow perfectly, or they don't flow in the way that we would like them to. So then we have a lot of expectations around this. And so when we have expectations, what tends to happen is we have an understanding, or we have kind of like a recipe of how we want things to turn out. But as we know, life isn't like that. I think what would really help in this situation is to change our mindset and to become more fluid and to allow things to happen as or unfold as they're meant to. But what happens in burnout is we reach a place of non-acceptance. And that is when we kind of put pressure on ourselves. And then we enter in this place of stagnancy where we are feeling like when we might have thoughts where we might feel we're not good enough, or we're not doing something that is right, or we're failing at something. But that isn't the case. failure is an opportunity to grow. And it doesn't necessarily mean just because you're experiencing this, you're stressed, that you're failing. It's actually you're learning something new about yourself, about your business. But in terms of burnout, what happens is so many things are affected: our mental health, our physical health, and then that affects our daily functioning. So if you are experiencing, something like this, I would really suggest, take some time out. And I know that could be quite anxiety provoking, someone saying
Yeah.
take time out of your business.
Yeah.
But what's happened here is your nervous system is overstimulated. It's basically got to a point where it's actually burning out. It's your nervous system that is burning out. So you need to actually stop and replenish that. It's very important. So perhaps it might mean changing your surroundings, changing your environment. Why don't you go and take that 10-minute walk or half an hour walk? Why don't you just sit and do nothing? Actually, maybe you could put some, very relaxing music on. Maybe you could journal. Maybe you could even start reading a book or listening to a book. It means taking time out. You need to put these practices in place because you're not a robot. You can't keep doing things over and over. And the longer that you stay in this period of burnout, the more dire the effects will be on your mental and physical health.
Wow. Thank you. I remember recently I was having this very discussion with a friend. And I posted something about sometimes you've got to take time to yourself, if it means letting down someone or letting down a few people, just to be with yourself, or maybe turning down a check, because at that moment your body needs you. And they were saying, but how is this even practical? And I thought, I think I used to to think this way. How is that even practical? Or how do you say stop? Because you don't want to stop. You can't stop.
No.
You depend on yourself as an entrepreneur. You probably have employees under you, people that depend on you, as well, for their livelihood. So what is the meaning of stop? But I feel like also with this burnout thing, it will just, you'll just have to stop because your body will react to that. And it's not a nice feeling. For me, it wasn't a nice feeling at all. So thank you for explaining that. Yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's true. If you don't stop, then what will happen is you will be stopped.
Yeah. Yeah. And entrepreneurship can be a lonely journey. It is a lonely journey for some and for most people. How can one combat feelings of isolation and loneliness in this journey of entrepreneurship?
That's also a really good question. And yes, it absolutely can be lonely. It can be quite isolating because a lot of the time, we're depending on ourselves. We're depending on our knowledge, on our understanding. And we're kind of like going through this blindly. But in terms of having that connection, ultimately, first of all, it's about believing in yourself, connection with self, but also enabling that connection with others. There's a few things that you can do. Obviously, yes, you can connect with other people who are perhaps in your field. I know that there's groups and things that you can join where they have weekly discussions. That's another way of reaching out, so that you can join weekly or monthly groups and connect with others, not necessarily for networking, but obviously that can be an opportunity as well. But also, what's also important is it doesn't always have to be work, as in work connections. Make time to have connections, with your friends, of an evening or on a weekend. That, those friends that you have such a good time with, and you can just be yourself, just let your hair down. Maybe even, connecting with your family as well. Just having those times of connection. So when you have these experiences with other people, and like I say, not necessarily it has to be, as in work connections, this is also important because this is also about disconnecting from your work and having time to actually truly be yourself. You're replenishing yourself, your soul, your emotions, because I understand being an entrepreneur, there isn't like a set time when you're going to be that person. But,
Right.
you've also got to have time to be yourself. You are not your business. Your business is something that you have built, that you have created, but you are not your business 100%. Okay.
Ah,
So it's about time for connecting with others. That's why we feel lonely. That's why we feel isolated. And when we have those times of disconnection from our work, having that break, that's when our biggest breakthroughs come through, because you've given yourself that brain space to actually just do nothing. It's like you've taken your brain on holiday for those few hours of an evening, of a weekend. So I feel like that would be a great way, for connecting with others. Yeah, joining groups, but
yes.
also being with your friends and family, or people that you feel really safe and you feel loved.
Mm, mm. Wow. Well, thank you for that. And
No,
there's this thing of a setback. Setbacks happen a lot with entrepreneurs. I mean, a person would tell you, "Oh, when I started, I had this business that didn't work out as I had hoped, and it failed, and I took some years off." And then, that failure, or that aspect of failing in
mm,
business, which is a reality, can be
yeah,
brutal on someone. But entrepreneurs would be these people that are so resilient, and they bounce back again, and they start something else. I don't think that is as easy as we say. We always
mm,
say, take your failure as a lesson. There's no failures, only lessons. Yes, those are beautiful lessons that inform you on your next step. But mentally,
yes.
that wouldn't be a nice thing for someone to go through. So what is a mindset or a technique that can help one in bouncing back from a setback or failure?
Yes, and I think that's a real thing that we kind of have to understand, because I know that working for yourself, being an entrepreneur, yeah, it's amazing because you work for yourself. You also have time freedom,
Right.
financial freedom, and yeah, our work day, the way that we live our lives, looks differently from somebody who is working a 9 to 5. Um, but yes, setbacks are a real thing, and this is all about mindset and having belief in yourself and trusting that whatever is going to happen for your greater good. And you're right, having when something fails, it's not a failure. It just means that the way that you thought or had an expectation that it would work this way hasn't. So it's not a failing, it's showing you that this way that you had thought doesn't work like this. Maybe there's another way. There's a saying that my father actually used to say to me when I was a little girl, and of course I didn't really understand it, but it rings true now for me. He always used to say to me, Anoushka, if they, kick you out of the door and they say no more, you climb back through the window. And I was like, I didn't like I said, I didn't understand it. And I thought, what is that, Dad? What are you talking about? What does that even mean? Climbing through a window? I'm not going to climb through someone's window. But now looking back on it, and obviously being older, I think what he was trying to say is don't give up. Do not give up, because when you give up, that you're accepting that you are a failure. You're accepting that is your fate. And it's about elevating your mindset and thinking, okay, this didn't work this way. How else can I do it? Or what else can I do to make this succeed? And this process, you've got to think, has been repeated in history. Like you've got an inventor and they wanted to invent something. Maybe something didn't work the first time. I mean, look at the wheel, for example. How many times has
Yeah.
that been reinvented? And now it's a very successful thing. It's even used to, till today. So
Yeah.
this is about having a different approach, having a different mindset. It's not about scrutinizing yourself and saying bad things to yourself, or necessarily listening to your ego and thinking, oh, I'm a failure. I can't do this. Everyone else manages to get it. There's no point putting yourself down. Why would you want to do that?
Mm.
This is about having a different type of mindset. Okay. And having certain practices in place to keep your mindset at that optimum level, which is like what we were saying earlier. Take time off, take time out for yourself, because you're not actually taking a holiday from your work. What you're doing is you're improving yourself. You're working on yourself. So it's really important then to have that specific mindset. Okay, it didn't work this way. What can I
Yeah.
do to do it in a different way? So it's about having the ability to be able to see past this and see,
Mm.
right, okay, how do I work this out? So it is about a mindset shift.
Yeah, yeah, and that ego too. Hey, it can cloud our judgment.
Mm,
I don't know
yes.
how we learn to not listen to it or to feed into it too much or to put it in check because it can cloud one's judgment as well.
Yes, the ego is something that needs to be contained. We've all got
Mm.
one. Me,
Yeah.
you, listeners, your neighbors, that person on the street, everybody's got one.
Mm.
But if and it's always negative because it's built up of life experiences and other people's opinions of you. So this would have been formed in childhood. So it really all just depends what kind of childhood you had, how your parents or your caregivers were to you. We form opinions, we form schemas, we form values,
Mm.
and opinions of others. And of course, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. Everyone's got one, which is fine.
Mm.
But that we're not children anymore, we're adults. So we can look at things differently because what the ego does is there to protect us. Okay. Believe it or not, it's there to actually
Yeah.
protect us.
Uh-huh.
But what it does do is it sometimes can make us very upset, very judgmental,
Mm.
competitive with others, not being appreciative, not seeing what we have in front of us. So the ego is something that we need to be able to contain. So, practices in order to be able to do that is, for example, listening to meditative music that's going to
Yeah.
calm your nervous system. You'll find
Mm.
that when you are stressed or when you are feeling burnt out, your ego is something that is going to be more prominent at those times. When you're feeling more relaxed, when you're feeling like everything's going well, your ego isn't going to be so loud in your mind. So it's
Mm.
about having healthy practices over a period of time, not just when you're stressed, because it doesn't work then. It's a mindset shift. So you've got to navigate your mind, strengthen your mind to actually think a certain way. And if you think about it, that's how we had programmed or conditioned our ego. So, for example, you'll find that your ego, the things that it says, the narrative that it has, will be of kind of things that perhaps maybe you would have heard as a child. So it could have been
Okay.
maybe you had quite a strict father or a mother that wasn't very forthcoming or wasn't very emotional. So you'll
Mm.
find that that kind of manifests itself in our adulthood, which again, this is what makes us quite judgmental on ourselves.
Okay.
We could feel all sorts of things, like we might feel like we compare ourselves to others. Maybe we're jealous of others or someone's doing better, so you feel more competitive. But it's
Mm.
not, but it's about taking a step back and really understanding what the ego is, what its purpose is, and how it's actually playing out in your daily life and also in your business. Because remember, you are your business, but
Mm.
you also have an ego. So your ego will be part of the business too.
Huh. Wow. Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Imposter syndrome. What is that?
Mm,
And is it a totally
yeah.
negative phenomenon? What is imposter syndrome?
Okay. The reason why I made that noise is because I know exactly what that is. Because I actually, what I used to have that, and so
Yeah.
I completely understand that it can be all consuming, and it's like, wow, you're just thinking, oh my goodness, I
Yeah.
can't do this.
Yeah.
These are self doubts. That's what this is. This is self doubt. You know
Ah.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you don't believe in yourself, when you don't believe what you're creating, the content that you're putting out there, the services that you are delivering for others, you don't believe in yourself and your services. You know what? The way you've got to look at it is, you know what? There isn't another you. You are the only you. And the thing is, you have been chosen, okay, to do this work. You have got to this point in your life, and this is by no accident. You know, you have worked there, you've put in the work, you've put in the time, and I know you would have sacrificed so much to get to where you are. Why not you? Why not you? So this is about really looking again, this is looking at yourself and believing in you. Why not you? Why, like
Yeah.
people come to you for this. They believe in you. They pay for your services. They believe in you. Start believing in yourself too.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, because then you're thinking, I've read about it a little where it says people with imposter syndrome, or when you have one, you're thinking, am I even
Yeah.
doing a good job? Am I sure of what I'm doing? Can people see, like a feeling that people think you're a fraud, or a feeling that people are
Mm,
belittling you, and thinking, well, what is she on about? you know, but it's like when
yes.
you say it's a self-doubt thing, you are doubting yourself internally. So, wow.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, just to add to that, that is the
Mm.
ego. That's the voice of the ego. No, you can't do this. How can you do this? Oh, you mustn't do this. No, just stay small. Just do what you did before. Just quit. Why don't you just quit? And that again is the voice of the ego reinforcing that you don't believe in yourself, when actually this is a test from the universe saying, can you really do this? Is this you? Like, it's testing your belief in yourself, because that's where it all comes from. Your business is your belief in yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. And at
You're
what
welcome.
point should one seek professional help, a therapy for their mental health? I'm asking this in context of everyone, not just entrepreneurs.
Mm,
At what point in one's life should one stop and say, I think I need help?
I think that's also a really, really good question. And that's, again, that is all about I feel like when you don't feel you can do this on your own, when things are really overwhelming and you feel bad over a sustained period of time, reach out. There's no shame in
Mm,
asking for help. It doesn't mean that you're a failure or you're weak. It just means that you need a little bit of help at this point. And there is never a right time. And I feel like it's very much personal to every single person. I think you should follow your instinct or your gut feeling whenever you feel the time is right for you. And again, this is very personal to every single person. So it really just depends. When you feel the time is right for you, if you feel like you're struggling and you can't cope and things just are not going right, maybe that might be an indicator that to reach out, just to kind of like talk through some ideas, and yeah, reach out for help from a professional.
yeah, yeah. And wow. Uh, Thank you. Rest,
Yeah.
the issue of resting. I remember with my burnout ordeal, a friend of mine was saying, your experience has taught me that we can't cheat rest. when it's time
Yeah.
to rest, you gotta rest. So how important is rest to sustain one's entrepreneurial efforts?
Again, a really important subject, and this is again, this really echoes what we were talking about earlier, actually, when we were saying about, having that time off, having that time for self-care.
Yeah.
And again, or not feeling burnout, because those are the dire effects of not having enough rest. And rest meaning it's not just sleep, it's brain rest as well. Yes, sleep and brain rest kind of go hand in hand, but it's about really unwinding, really just kind of parking your business, at the end of the day and just like, okay, it's fine. It's going to be okay. Well, I can pick this up at a later date. I can pick this up at, after the weekend, because what you're doing is you have to replenish yourself. It's you, it's your body, it's your mind. Okay. And if you're not okay, you can't serve others. You can't help others if you're not okay, if you're not replenished, because these people are looking up to you. You're like a role model for these individuals.
Yes.
So if you're not doing those practices, how can you then work at your optimal level or at a positive place to help other people? You can't, it's like that saying, you can't give from an empty cup, can you? You can't do that. So what example are you giving others? If you're not looking after yourself and you're not showing others, you're a role model. What example are you giving others?
I was going to say to add to that, I feel like it also affects now the relationships with those around you. Could be the people looking up to you, your employees, because you're now functioning at this pace. You've sort of a little bit lost yourself, and because you haven't rested, so it will affect everything. Maybe a relationship with your close ones at home, at work, or I don't know. I feel like it isn't. It's indeed we can't cheat it.
Yes, that's a really good point. Yes, because others, like your employees or others, are going to be looking up to you, aren't they? It's like what we're saying. You are a role model. You are showing people. So yes, you are. You're at that elevated level. Absolutely. But if you're not doing those things from someone who is at that elevated level, then actually, it could have dire effects, like even people losing a little bit of respect for you, because if you're not respecting yourself, you're showing others that they don't need to respect you because you're not respecting yourself. Can you see how this works as a mirror?
Yeah.
It's like you've got to show others. You're the role model. You are showing others how you want the work done, how things should be, how you are treating yourself.
Thank you.
You're
Often
welcome.
entrepreneurs are resilient people. We talked
Yes.
earlier about them coming back from setbacks and failures. They are resilient. They are tenacious individuals who go
Yeah.
getters. But at what mental health cost do these experiences come with? I wonder.
Yeah, this is an interesting point. It's true. It's you have to really be aware of yourself, be aware of your needs primarily. They are go-getters. People, entrepreneurs are people who are very successful. They are very, they want success. They want results. And absolutely, we all do. We all want to succeed. But this is a point where you really have to have that connection to self. You have to work at a completely different level or have a completely different mindset to, other people, because you are, essentially you are different from your employees, from other people. You run your own business. You are the business. So your mindset, the way that you live your life is going to be different. So this really is about having that connection to yourself, really learning about your needs and your wants. This is very important. If you're not able to do that, then this is what will happen. There'll be things like burnout, imposter syndrome. These will be the effects where you don't take time out for yourself. And you're constantly going, chasing that success, wanting certain things to come about, getting those results. And you are go-getters, yes. And that is the resilience. That's why you are different from others. This is why you have your business. But if you're not looking after that, then it will fail.
Mm. I feel like there's this, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like there's this passivity or passiveness when it comes to mental health and entrepreneurship. Like we
I
talking
agree.
about all these hard knocks that entrepreneurs have to go
Mm,
through, fighting for the survival of your business, being told, no, you can't get this funding, the cash flow being on the negative and you fighting to improve things and operations. But I feel like we take care of our physical body. If I've got a cold or a sore throat, I'm going to go to visit a medical doctor, see my GP, what could be
yes.
going on. But I feel like there's this a sense of passivity when it comes to that element of our mental health, just to sustain our health mentally and our brains and our rest, and rest also as an important factor. I don't
Mm,
know. I feel like it is a thing we don't really pay much attention to until we are forced to, that thing where you say your body
yes.
will stop you. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this is a very important discussion.
Yes, you are absolutely right. And it's like what I've been saying, you have to really pay attention to yourself. You have to think, you have to look at things differently. You're not the same as everybody else. Like this isn't about, you go to work, you do your hours of work and that's it. You're working at a completely different level. You're at an elevated level here now because,
Yeah.
you're working differently, or the way that you conduct your day is completely different from everybody else. And I feel like that's a gift, to be able to have your own business, to work like this is a gift, but you have to put certain practices in place, because if you don't, these will be the effects. And I understand right at the beginning, when you're starting up your business or when everything's going really well, of course it's amazing. Of course it feels good because everything's working how you
Yeah.
expect it to or how you want it to. But what happens is there will be those times when it falls out. There will be those times where it doesn't work. And that is where you have to become more fluid in your life. Like, okay, so, and not have those expectations, not having to control things all the time. Because the reason why there may be failure or there may be certain things that go wrong is because of your actually it's, and I'm sorry if this may sound harsh, but it's because of you. You are not looking after yourself, so therefore your mental health, your ideas, your well-being is not being looked after. And it's like what I said before, if you're not a robot, so you can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. Your business will flow, your business will grow, it will elevate, but that all comes from your mind, from you. So when you are finding things a little bit difficult, when you are being refused funding, or whatever it is, and maybe you might feel that things are not going right, okay, take a step back. All right. You do need time, because you need time for your ideas to flow. At the moment, they may not be flowing because your nervous system is overstimulated and it's not working how it should be. Your body isn't in flow. So therefore, that's why everything else is not in flow. And in terms of like earning money, cash flow, that sort of thing, money is energy. Money is about whether you believe you are worth that, whether you are worth that energy flow, that money flow coming in. I hope that's making sense. Um, for it to come in, because it is you. And if you are at that level, if you're working and you're looking after yourself, everything will flow.
Wow. Anoushka, thank you. You have a book coming up, Self Regeneration. You call
Yes.
it a meeting of science and wisdom. Can you share more about it?
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning it here. Yes. It's called Self Regeneration, this book.
Mm,
And
mm,
ultimately, what I wanted to kind of convey, the message in the book, is that actually you are so capable of achieving the life that you want, anything that you want in your life. This goes a little bit above, like, or a bit more in depth, or levels up from manifestation, because it's not about that. It's about actually looking at yourself as a being and understanding how powerful you actually are, understanding how powerful your mind actually is, and we don't use it to its to the way it's supposed to be. And that's what I want to convey. The self-regeneration is that you can mend all of this, whether, from your emotions to physical to mental disabilities. You can actually heal this with the certain practices. You can heal this. This is echoed throughout nature, where nature is able to regenerate itself, replenish itself. And I wanted to echo this in the book, that this is actually a very natural process if you take the certain practices. So this book is, yes, it's about science, psychology, wisdom, spirituality, all of this, because it all combines it. I want to combine the mind and the body, because it's one system. It's not two separate entities.
Yeah.
And that's really what the message that I wanted to convey in the book, is that you can have anything you want. You can be anybody that you want. Your life is there for you to choose it.
Yeah. Wow. When do you expect it to be on the shelves so we can be on the lookout for it?
Oh, that would be great. I am hoping for it to be finished at the end of this year, beginning of 2025.
Right. Wow. Thank you. And how can one, Anoushka, from any part of the world book a session with you?
Oh, thank you. Yes. So if you could just either go to my website, which I'm sure the link will be there, or you can follow me over on my social media. I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok and Instagram. So there will be links there. So you can just press the link, and
Yes.
you can email me as well, and
Yes.
I will be available.
Wow, Anoushka, thank you. Thank you so much for your insights that you shared here. You brought some light to many of us, I believe and hope. Thank you for setting time to come and discuss mental health with us today.
Oh, you are welcome. And it's been such a pleasure. I really hope that this helps you to think differently about yourself and about your life. You know what? You guys are amazing, and you can achieve anything that you want in your life. Just believe in you, because you're already amazing. And thank you for inviting me to do this podcast. It's been an absolute honor.
Podcast community, I would like to take this moment to express my sincere gratitude for your support and engagement with our podcast. If you enjoy our show and find value in the insights shared here, I kindly invite you to click the follow or subscribe button on your podcast platform. By doing so, you will ensure that you never miss an episode and stay updated with our latest content. Following or subscribing to our podcast is a simple yet meaningful way to stay connected and be part of our growing community. Your support and engagement are crucial in shaping the future of this podcast. So, by clicking that follow button, you not only demonstrate your enthusiasm for the content we create here, but you also contribute to our mission of fostering insightful conversations and personal growth. So, if you are ready to join us on this journey, please take a moment to click that follow or subscribe button. We genuinely appreciate your support. Thank you for being part of our community. And remember, stay curious, stay inspired, and let's keep exploring together.